Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve in Plano, Texas. Tonight's exercise is a field test of the Klarus G15 Flashlight. I want to thank Klarus for sending me this light and making the review possible. Well, what do we have here? As you can see, it says compact ultra output. Compact, I don't know. I have average size hands. This is an EDC style light. This impresses me as being on the large end of the spectrum for an EDC style light. Typical Klarus fit and finish. I have the one-way clip oriented to help me get quick access to the side switch. Otherwise, everything is as you have seen in the other Klarus reviews. Now, ultra output. 4,200 peak lumens sounds impressive. However, only 10,000 peak candela. This is not a thrower. The other issues you have with very high lumen output, especially in this small of a form factor and this type of battery, is power drain and heat. So you put all of that together and this type of a light can look very good in a dark confined space like underneath a tree canopy, less so in a more wide open space with light pollution and possibly particulates in the air. And we have to address step down because it can be very substantial. So all of those things are going to be subjects for field testing tonight. Really going to try hard to find out where the edge of that performance envelope is. Now, in terms of constant on output, you have all the usual suspects: moonlight, low, medium, high, turbo. You also have direct to moonlight, direct to turbo, flashing modes. You have access to strobe, beacon, SOS. You also have direct access to turbo and strobe from either on or off. Okay, that's enough of me babbling on. You didn't come here to listen to me talk. It's time for the light to speak for itself. So I will wait for the sun to go down a bit more, and then we will get out here in the preserve and see exactly what this G15 is made of. We still have some light on the horizon, but I want to go ahead and get started. Show you just a couple brief things about the UI. It's fundamentally very simple. Quick click to turn on, press and hold to cycle through low, medium, high, back around to low. Click to turn off. Press and hold to go to moonlight. Once you're in moonlight, now if you click, you'll go off. Press and hold, you can go through that low, medium, high cycle. Then I always like to demonstrate, or at least get you to think about, from low, medium, high, how do you get to turbo and back around? Well, it's a double click to turbo. So there's my double click. Okay, if I single click, I turn the light off. A lot of times you double click to get back, but you might accidentally press and hold. So let's see how fault tolerant this is. If I single click, it goes back to the mode I was in. That's good. Back in turbo. If I double click, it goes back to the mode that I was in. Back in turbo. What if I press and hold by accident? Oh, it just cycles through low, medium, high, back around to low. So very fault tolerant in the UI, and I tend to like that because sometimes I can be a bit boneheaded. I must have at least 100 lights in my inventory. As you can imagine, I evaluate new lights all the time, and so sometimes I'll just forget. I'll do the wrong thing. So I always like to do a fault tolerance demo if I think it's useful to helping people with their evaluation. Still have to let it get a bit darker, and then we'll look at these output levels. Here we are at the bridge where I do a lot of output level tests. There is some space above me, so it's not completely enclosed, but it is very much a tree canopy style environment. We're back in moonlight. They look over the bridge, go up into low, looking down on the creek. Medium. We have a little bit over 35 yards maximum line of sight. There's high. And everyone's favorite, turbo, but you can see we're already starting to overlight what's directly to the left and right of me with this cool white emitter. This is the area I want to look at next. We are close to a road about 50 yards to my left. It's still not completely dark. There's just a sliver of light on the horizon in front of me. No moon out tonight, and you're looking at my search and rescue headlamp in 800 lumen spot. However, the candela at this output exceeds the Klarus even in turbo. Now you can see there's a gap between the trees right in front of me. I can just barely see to the back of that gap, which is roughly 50 yards. So I wanted you to see this in a lower lumen but higher candela output. Now let's run through the output levels on the Klarus. Here we are in low. Medium. Already you can see we're getting a lot of side-to-side illumination. High. I can just now see that there's a gap between the trees, but I can't really get any information at all. And there's turbo. Still can't see to the back, but you can see how I'm already starting to kind of overlight what is to my left and right. I'm at the playground. This is an EDC style light, so I'm simulating a situation where something was lost here earlier. Now we have to come back and search for it in moonlight. Now this is particularly strong output relative to most moonlights, but unless you're just looking really right in front of your feet, I'm not quite sure about it in these darker pockets. So let's go up to low. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think for this scenario in general, low is a much better option, but that gives you a chance to see the contrast between the two. Even if we go up here into an area where there's light pollution, looking in some of these shadowed areas where there's light coming out from that sitting area, we can light these up adequately using just low. This is the typical path following example. You were out later than you expected, maybe got a little lost by the time you got started back. It's dark. This is the only light you have. Can you follow a groomed path? And if so, what's the lowest output level? This is low, barely adequate for just looking right in front of you. It's really hard for me to get information about the path ahead of me. Now I go up into medium. Yeah, that's much better. I can see the right to left slope. I can see the ridges where rain runoff has cut in there. That's a place I might trip. So I would say the minimum output level you want in this example is medium. Looking out over another creek, low 30s yardage in terms of maximum line of sight, medium output level, kind of barely adequate from this distance. Okay, there's high, that's definitely getting the job done. But you notice I got more of a bump in side-to-side illumination than I did the downrange. This is the entrance to the outer loop trail. About 23, 24-ish to the sign. Then distances increase along the tree line, then decrease, and then increase again as we look inside that tree line where the path curves off to the right. Here we are in turbo. Now that tree right in front of me, as I move off to the left and lose line of sight, that is over 100 yards. And as the wind is picked up, we're starting to get more particulates in the air. And all that does is that increases the amount of reflection that you get from this rather wide beam. So that's one of the disadvantages to a lower candela light if you're trying to view things at a distance. Of course, I do search and rescue as a private contractor, so I spent a lot of time trying to light things up at distance. The wind and the generally cooler weather may also be helping with heat regulation. Well, I've noticed a bit of a step down. It's not as dramatic as I might have expected, and heat in the head area of the lamp is currently manageable. But we have a very brisk, cool wind out tonight. Over 2 minutes, I'm probably going to let this go 3 to 4. A little more heat buildup, but nothing uncomfortable. I suspect cool breeze is really helping a lot tonight. Over 3 now. I did the preliminary evaluation of this light many weeks ago, and it was considerably hotter outside, and it did step down more aggressively, but we're approaching 4. Okay, that's well over 4 in constant on turbo. There is one more UI example I wanted to show you, but I wanted to do it in a bit darker area so it would be a bit more dramatic. I'm walking along using just the ambient light from the surrounding city, generally not a great idea. I hear something, not sure what it is, so I take out my trusty Klarus, and then from off, I double click direct into turbo. I go over here and look. I thought it was, some sort of a swamp monster. Okay, it was just my imagination. I still got some adrenaline going, so I forget what I was doing, and I don't realize what state the light was in before I went to turbo, so I just accidentally single clicked. Oh, single click takes me back to off. So let me do a long press and hold. There's moonlight. Then let's go through the output levels here. I just wanted to show you, you really need to think about all these different scenarios and run through the thought experiments of how you would use a light so that you can really match the UI up to your specific use cases and circumstances. Okay, there we are in low. Again, this is a darker, more contained environment than the last couple of tests. You can't see it here, but we've got a little over 55 yards maximum line of sight. There we go, much better in medium. Then high. And turbo one more time. All right, since this is an EDC style light, I want to take it back up to the parking lot picnic area, run another test or two, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. I'm back up to the picnic area, parking lot to my back. There is lighting in the parking lot, some building lighting to my left, but I'm in a little bit of a dark pocket here. All right, there we go. Low output. I mean, right here, low looks pretty decent. Okay, but let's introduce some photonic barriers. Start walking out here more towards this light. Okay, much less so here. Now as we round the corner, this is where I typically start this test. So again, low does very good in close proximity for these darker pockets. Okay, back up looking directly into the light. Okay, there's medium. Then high. So I'll let you see this in a mix of photonic barriers mixed in with some darker pockets. I'll go ahead and wrap it up here for the evening. After you get past price and general features, you kind of get used to weighing lumens versus candela. The other thing you want to look at is this cool white emitter best for your use cases? How are you going to use the light? If you're out night hiking, or doing just very general observation. You just want to put some light downrange, not that far away, maybe inside of 50 yards. You just want to see if something's there. That's one thing. Now, do you do nature observation? What about night photography, videography? Would you consider using this light to help light a scene? Well, in that case, you probably want to consider a much warmer, high CRI emitter. Those are just some of the considerations. I can't make that recommendation for you. I'm just the bozo who gets out here with the wild animals and runs the test. You're the one who has to make the decisions. And on that note, if you'd like to see some additional tests or perhaps comparisons, leave a comment. I will try to do the best I can, with the understanding that I have caught up a bit, but I'm still running over 5 weeks behind in my review schedule. And as always, until that next review, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.